Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the HaloEra podcast, Spoilercast edition. This time talking about Halo the Series, Season 2, Episode 7, Thermopylae, assuming I pronounced that correctly. Things are a little different this time around. I am not home, so I can't host it in my usual OBS setup, but hey, it should be good. We should still fly through this. And joining us today are the same people we had last week. First up is my usual co-host, Nick. How's it going, man?
Howdy, doing pretty well.
Nice. Good to know that. Jesse, how's it going, man?
I am doing quite well. I threw this little look together as quick as I could. I'm going to be doubled up a little bit whenever I talk because I'm loud, and Amanda's got a good mic that I am actually in the direction of. So, hey.
Oh, and yes, sorry, my bad. Big thanks to Jesse for stepping up and helping me produce this episode for you guys this week. And of course, Amanda, how's it going this week?
Of course, me. It's going good. I called out of work today because I wasn't feeling good, but now I'm feeling okay, so ready to go.
Okay,
I got my
nice.
my librarian look going, I think. I don't know.
Oh, so real quick,
Let
I
me
didn't think
know.
of it. Can you
Yeah.
click the camera setup that's all the way to the right? It's going to make us a little smaller.
I click the setup. Give me 1 sec. I can do that. Give me 1 sec. I'm
Yeah.
on a really old laptop that takes a while to defull screen and refull screen.
Mhm. I would do it, but then it
Doing
just
it
shows
live.
everything.
The one with the screen or the one with
I have no idea.
Oh.
I can't look. I can chop your head in half and do it myself. Hold on. There we go.
give me a second.
Nope.
Single full
This
screen?
one. I got it.
Nope, not this.
Boom. There we go. Yeah, we're good. I got it.
That one. Okay, that's one all the way to the right, -1. Yes.
I didn't know that there shouldn't be
Okay,
a single
got
full
it.
screen.
Okay.
I didn't make that.
So before we get started,
Go for it.
before we get started with the episode, just some quick high-level thoughts. What you guys thought of the episode? Actually, before we get started with that, let me know if the audio is okay. I'm on hotel Wi-Fi.
You're fine.
I don't fully
Yeah.
trust it. If
It
I'm
is
cutting off
thrown
cutting
your
recording-
it's thrown your video into shit quality, but your audio is actually pretty good. I think it's sacrificing some video for the audio,
Okay,
and you have extra latency.
I'm
so
okay with that.
just assume you got about 3 seconds more than normal for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be smooth.
Yeah. So
All right. Okay. Before we start, let's just get some high-level thoughts on what you guys thought overall of the penultimate episode of Season 2 of Halo the Series. Nick, to start with you, man. What do you think of the second last episode? Just overall.
overall, I didn't like it as much as last episode and stuff. I think that's kind of where I put my overall rating. Oh, I think he's still catching up.
Mhm.
Jesse, what about you? What's your overall rating?
I quite enjoyed it. I think I'm more into the setup episodes because I'm just kind of used to waiting. I want to see where it goes, and I felt like this one did hit a lot. It was very emotional. It was very impactful for me in setting up what I think could end up being a very good finale. We'll see. I didn't get this one early like I did the rest, but I have been told I will get the finale in time to review that for but I wouldn't expect it for finale. There's no way they'll do it a day early again. I'm guessing it's probably going to be right once it goes up, so 3 a.m. like 3:01 a.m. on Eastern time is when it normally goes live in the US.
Yep.
So on Thursday. So keep an eye out for that. I'll have like a review. I'm going to try and do all the SEO stuff, like ending explained, season 2 recap, like all that type of stuff. But and then I'm thinking a week after maybe, or a few days, a full season 2 review. But yeah, overall, I liked where it took things. I'm very interested to see how it ends up being.
Okay. Nice. Amanda, assuming I didn't glitch out when you went, what do you think overall of the episode?
I liked it. I don't mind a setup episode either. I don't mind taking a moment or taking your time to set up something as long as it, as long as it was good and I liked it.
Yeah. Personally, I liked it. I have one hang up over one of the plot threads, which we'll get to, which I just don't like those specific things in the movies and TV shows, blah blah blah. But yeah, okay, let's dive right in. And feel free to cut me off if I keep talking after you cut me off. It's just latency. Don't worry about it. I'll shut up. All right. The moment I hear you. Okay. This time my summary is kind of from the declassified, so it'll sound fancier, but wordier. So I'm going to try and skip through it a little more. That's only 4 of us, so this shouldn't go too long. And actually, this is kind of official. So I'm not gonna lie. When I read this, I'm like, oh, that's what's happening a little bit. Okay, all right. Okay, so episode starts off with the chief telling Maki that he saw her on Reach with the Arbiter, bringing about the deaths of millions of people, to which Maki says that he would do the same to High Charity, and that Halo holds the seed of life itself, and that it could be used to build a world of peace, and that it belongs not to the Covenant and not to the humanity, but to her and the chief. Before we move on, what did you guys think overall of this initial start to the episode, this conversation?
It's kind of what it's what I assumed would happen with the two of them ending up on the Halo after touching the thing. They had a pretty short talk. John's like, yeah, I don't like the Covenant. I don't trust them with it. Without really him thinking, oh, Oni sucks shit. They probably wouldn't be great to have it either. And Maki is very much in the, well, we're the special ones who can control everything. It should just be ours. We should use it to bring peace and happiness and all this shit. I'm curious, does she know more about it and how it works and what it's supposed to do? Does she not? Because she definitely feels like she's the one, because he just knows it's a weapon. But she's talking in more ways. Like, I think she's got a little bit more of a background, and they might not work the exact same way as in the books, but I bet you they're pretty similar.
I mean, she also has a religious angle to it too, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, right? She feels super special, and she wants to be a cult leader very badly.
Yeah. I think that, like, I don't know, with that part, when I saw it, I was just like, oh, let's use it for peace and stuff. I was like, ew. And it's like, I don't know. What do you think
her peace is going to be? I don't think her peace is going to be peace. I think it's going to be what she wants to do to get back at people and make her own shit.
create the world and stuff. Kind of going almost the Cortana route, I guess you could say, of just being the build the universe into my kind of view. It could be something like that.
To be fair, her words are almost directly, because Halos, right? They're not just weapons. Librarian also has a hand in them, and they are seeds of life.
Yes,
hotbeds of, like, literal, like an arc of life. So that's not wrong per se in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, because I know that they were trying. They kind of used her as a replacement for the Monitor, and so for a while it kind of felt more like, I kind of liked how she was trying to go about the religious way and stuff, because it felt more in line with the Covenant, and then, like, using it, kind of as a weapon and stuff like that. Like, I kind of wish they would have stuck her a bit more with that. It almost felt like it was too much of a turn, and stuff with her feelings towards it. I mean, maybe there just wasn't enough build up for me for her to kind of make that transition, or I didn't realize that more throughout the whole story. But I don't know. It just felt like it didn't fit as much.
You're muted, Amanda. Oh, sorry. You pulled the chat. I don't hear you.
No.
Hello.
There we go.
I guess I had to push it 3 times for it to work, I guess. I was saying that if she was already feeling this way in the last season too, that she was like, hey, this could be my thing. This doesn't have to be with the Covenant, or I mean, she was already pulling away from the end of last season.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I guess, like, I don't know. It just felt off for me.
They are speed running things a little. So But it's because of, and we can get, I'm sure we'll get into it more, but if you watch the Kiki Wolfkill interview on the Xbox Era podcast, it's like, we wanted to spend way more time in Reach, because obviously it doesn't just fall in a day. It's a long, protracted battle, but it's unbelievably expensive to show that, and they ran out of money. Like, they just couldn't, to be able to jump around and to do it, even when you get $200 million at the scale they're going for, it's really expensive to do those types of huge battle scenes.
Like, a movie costs $150 million and it's the runtime of 2 episodes of television these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just wild.
But she's also the conversation. She's been pretty negative about the prophets ever since it was clear she knew that they were just going to kill her. Like, she's been very much, they're just full of shit and they suck for a while. And she manipulated and sold the Arbiter using that, essentially, where it's like, they don't care about you, they don't care about me, we can forge our own path without them.
To kind of put it,
I did
touch on that a little bit, was going back to the podcast and stuff. I guess some of those story beats lost it, and then when Kiki mentioned like that the Arbiter's job was to kind of go after Chief, and that was like his, suicide mission sort of thing. And then she kind of manipulated him into following the great journey,
and not killing Chief, like, when he had chances.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, that makes sense now. To me, that was kind of lost. And I was just like, the Arbiter should be like wanting to go to the ring and stuff like that. This part of the great journey. That's the whole thing of the Covenant. That actually, and like, so why is he, going against the priest and hiding it and stuff? It's like, so that that made sense for me. It sucked that I had to learn that from a podcast and for them to explain it. But I'm glad I know that now, because I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair. I did like that Chief like basically disagreed with Maki. Obviously, I'm glad it wasn't like, Maki, I feel the same way. It's like, no,
your
so people are genocidal maniacs. Like, my people aren't the best, yes, but we wouldn't go to the Grunt homeworld and glaze it to the ground. You know what I mean? Like, we're not that far gone. Like, there's a difference.
I mean, as far as we know.
Well,
I think Parangosky would.
Fair enough.
He's left out of a lot of.
Parangosky would. But UNSC is more than just ONI.
I don't think Ackerson would.
There's still Marines. Okay, continuing on, and speaking of ONI and Paragonsky and Ackerson. So Ackerson and Paragonsky talk about the Chief being free, and Paragonsky points out that he was in charge. Therefore, the blame for all of this would fall on his shoulders. She's not even in the ONI.
And it also, with that scene, because he right before that saw the simulations and stuff too.
That's actually a little after, technically.
Oh, okay. Well, spoiler.
Once he realizes she's ready to throw him under the bus and murder any and everyone, that's when he's like, oh shit, what is actually going on here?
So the hologram comes up. Cortana's signal on the Arbiter's ship is reacquired in the SOL system, not the Soul system, where it's emerged from subspace, along with the entire First Fleet of Solemn Accord. And there's a big disturbance in the center. That's probably a big Halo ring. The first Condors approach that have Spartan IIIs, and while they're giving the report, they get wiped out.
If you know that system, that is the system that had the original Halo in it. So the nerds were like, ooh, right away.
Installation 04. Paragonsky is just throwing Spartan IIIs at it, and Ackerson's like, yo, chill, dude. Like, what the flip is this? And she's like, I'll sacrifice all of them if I have to. And he's like, what the heck? And then she says, this is the battle to claim the Halo, and the Covenant take it. There won't be another day for humanity to fight.
And I mentioned in his eyes, it's like, how is just, if one of them succeeds in turning a ship off, what is that going to do? Which is, I think, why he went and was like, the whole point is to get in there and knock their ships out one by one to give us a chance against them. But that's when he finds out, as we'll hit next or soon.
Technically next, unless you guys wanted to touch on, Paragonsky and Ackerson, there's some more to talk about, so we'll get through the whole thing before we really talk about it. And then comes the part of the episode, which, again, I still like Soren's story and Soren Lera's story with Kessler. it's just I feel the editing is a little weird. That like we have a bunch of stuff that's really interesting, then we cut to this for a few minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
they just kind of wandered into some kind of warehouse training zone somehow.
It's
It
the
seems like
human.
it seems a little offset.
It's a human element to try and pull in the casual audience more, I think, because you're constantly in these
Yeah.
high stakes military things, and then you got to pull in the old sentimental folk with the cute little kid and
Yeah.
his parents.
This episode
Yeah.
kind of had like a sort of like parental overtone, which I was kind of confused how this fit in. I watched this episode alone, so I was able to like pause and think about stuff. Jesse's usually like, let's go, and he
I just
but
watched
I
it.
watched it alone, so I was able to think, and I was like, this episode really has like this parental overtone, but I
Yeah.
don't really see how it fits in with what's going on. I guess parental stuff always makes people get sentimental, but I was like, where is this fitting in
I think
to
it's
the
just
storyline?
the target audience. A lot of the target audience are like dads. You know what I mean?
We got the penultimate. We gotta get the dad's feelings
Yeah.
going.
As far as me
Grandpa's-
watching this one, because I didn't get it early, which I'm pretty sure was just, they forgot to send it, because I didn't see any early reviews. But then they're like, oh yeah, here it is, 3 hours after it aired. I'm like, and we'll get you the
Oh, that's
finale.
cool.
So it's like, oh fuck. So yeah, I stayed up and I watched it at 3 a.m. I wrote the review at 3:55 to like 4:05 a.m. and then I published it, and then I made the video and I published that and had everything done by like 4:45 a.m. And then I went to sleep, and I only watched it once, but it's still pretty ingrained in my memory.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
the
sorry,
part with going back to like Kessler and stuff is like
Mhm.
I don't know, it just felt kind of weird. I don't know, like I get that it was kind of cutting back to when he was going through all that and stuff, like when he was a Spartan, and then he goes in. I just didn't understand why his kid was. I know they talked about the UNSC and Oni or whoever taking him, but as far as I know, they were done with like the whole like child soldier stuff. So like
Yeah.
what?
So
I
the
think
assumption
was
is
that?
they're not, right? The assumption is
Yeah.
they're taking orphans and
They're
still
taking,
training them to be
now they're
Spartans.
going into the orphan, which is what the book Spartan IIIs were orphans mostly of the war, because the war had been going on for decades. And then they were taking them, and they were lightly enhancing them, not as much as twos, and they're like filling them full of stimulants and shit. So I think it was probably the start of, okay, we've got our Spartan 3 fodder, who are the people who are currently already soldiers who enlist into this program because we said Chief died, and then we're also building up more powerful Spartans over time again with kids, except for this time we're not stealing them, we're just buying them off the black market because their parents are dead because they were friggin' orphaned. And I think there's
We're
been
not
a
stealing
fair,
them. We're buying them.
yeah, there's been a fair amount of time in between the events, which, like, I also, it really doesn't, it's hard to tell how long slip space travel takes.
I mean, probably a
It's
couple
more,
weeks, I'd say.
yeah,
Maybe a few
'cause-
weeks.
like at the very end, it feels like it's really fast, when maybe they're not that far from that system, I guess. But like the very last thing, when we see a
that's-
slip space jump, it was very quick. So I do think they're in the, it's a TV show. If it was a book, we could say it took Chief 12 hours to get there. But in a TV show, like that was always Star Trek, things were just faster when they needed to be for the plot. So I think I just got to get used to that.
I think it can be assumed at the end of this episode, and we'll get to it, but when he does the subspace, it probably takes more than half a second.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's probably been a good month since Reach. Like it feels like they've been in basic training for this suicide mission for at least a little while. So it's been at least a month.
With regard to the Spartan 3s, I feel like the show hasn't made it explicit, but the ones in the armor aren't the book Spartan 3s, which were still kids that were given augmentations, that were given lighter augmentations, but SPI, the armor technically can be worn by non-augmented soldiers, right? That is canon, technically. So it kind of feels like they took a bunch of Marines, threw them in the armor, right? And tried to convince them. In fact, this is actually interesting. There was a Reddit thread on our Halo story. Do you guys remember in the previous episode, Perangonsky had that weird tangent about tea, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Where she's like,
It
"Hey,
sounds
try this
like-
tea. It's from Sri Lanka, right? And it's like this, blah, blah, blah. And Atkinson's like, oh, okay. And she's like, it's not. We made it here. but I made you believe it was from here, right? And I think, or at least the Reddit thread made me think now that was basically alluding to Spartan IIIs, making them believe that they're Spartans, even though they really aren't, you know?
Yeah, selling the propaganda that they are, so that way they believe it and
Exactly.
stuff too. Trying to kind of shortcut the whole mentality of a Spartan.
Yeah,
Again,
because like the
the
whole point of
runtime.
propaganda is making people believe, based on faith, pretty much, making them believe.
There's so much you
I
can
don't
do
know.
with
I
like a
didn't word that
20-hour book.
well, but
Yeah, and I know what you mean though. But it's like I think you have to infer a lot because the TV show can only do so much, especially in jumping on stories. But I'm assuming the war is not going too well. I'm assuming it's like kind of almost last ditch efforts in a way.
Yeah, they always lose
Like I
in
know
space
long term
battles.
this
So
clearly won't work. Yeah. But those are all inferments because the show hasn't shown us that. That is 100% a valid complaint. That's stuff that we get from our knowledge of Halo and things like that.
Yeah, we're trying to fill in those gaps.
Yeah.
And also, there is information overload in a TV show aimed at older casual people. So I understand why they don't paint all those numbers in, because most people are just like, this is fun popcorn sci-fi. I want to turn my brain off and maybe cry a little, go a few times, and that's about it. It's not like
military.
For all the prestige people love with HBO, with like The Last of Us and The Wire and all these shows, like outside of Game of Thrones and to another degree The Last of Us, thankfully, they did really well. But a lot of the prestige TV, most people just bounce off of, not only because you have to pay for it, people are used to that now, but because it's so heavy and you have to really like dedicate your attention to it. And that's just people like fluff, people like Max has had more audience than ever by doing a bunch of dog shit reality TV shows. Same with Netflix, and they're super easy. And you call it reality, and then you lightly script and set everything up and pretend it's real, and people go goo goo gaga over it. But then you've got something like Andor, which was incredible, despite being a Star Wars thing, because Star Wars normally sucks, but Andor was incredible, and nobody watched it because it's actually difficult to like. It's hard to watch at times because it's so
it's not
dour.
just space ninjas jumping around, right? Actually,
So again, the main problem with everything is the audience.
I mean, even Game of Thrones dumbed down a fair bit from the books. Like a lot of plot threads disappear. A lot of characters don't show up. Like
well, that's what made even the shitty Harry Potter books. Which when you go back and look, I'm like, oh, she's like, there's some really dumb writing here. She just hit on some cool concepts, but the movies had to cut a lot of that dumb shit out and then streamline it and be way better by the end. Like 5 to 8 were way better because they just made it more basic. But when you got a really well written book, it's generally quite dense, and you've got to cut a lot of that out because people just aren't into that on the big screen. Or else they start thinking the Muad'Dib is the hero of Dune.
So kind of go back to some of the stuff since we touched on some of the previous episode stuff with the black tea and everything. One of the things that I noticed with this, and that I was actually thinking about it on my car ride home, is that when the simulation ended after like they just did the spike and they didn't train them for getting out, I was like, oh, that's looking back, that was foreshadowing.
Good catch.
Like that was them because like they do the spike and the thing overloads. It's like there's no escaping, as we saw from Ackerson's,
I didn't even go back and catch that.
Yeah,
it wasn't that she was just expecting them to die. It was she knows they die if they win.
Yeah.
She just knows they're all dead.
So that's why she's not so concerned with the simulations working. She's like,
yeah.
For her coders, she's like,
really matter
anyway.
anyway.
Hey, do we want us to code like exit simulations? Like, no. I need you to do more important.
No, let's be nice and give them a win at the end. And everyone looks at her like, you're never nice. What is going on?
They're just standing there. What do we do now? And they're like, doesn't really matter because you're not going to do anything past this point.
But okay, back to the thing. So Soren and Lara's and Custer's plot. The episode's called Thermopylae, right? And I guess for this part of it, essentially they find where the training session is. And by the way, if there's ever a confirmation that Blue Team is going to magically appear in a later season, this is confirmation that it is not going to. Okay. Soren talks about how there's only 5 Spartans remaining at the ending, and guess what? It's all the named Spartans we already know about in the show. All right, so
Well, was he saying
And
those are the only
Trailer
ones
says.
left at all? I thought he was
And
saying
Laura's
those are
like,
the
okay.
ones
No,
that are left.
those were the
that were
ones.
left.
No, he
Those-
meant like those are the ones I'm like.
Yeah, those are the ones that when they were getting their asses kicked as kids, they are the ones that stayed up the longest.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
feel like that's
he didn't name
affirmation
drop anyone
that,
else.
Like the bond between these guys is the bond that Blue Team has in the books. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's what they're trying to definitely show there is like, yeah, change your colors a little bit. And, this is, it's not Blue Team, but it's inspired by Blue Team, obviously.
If
so
Fred
during
had
this
taken a
time, you
needler
can
to the
kinda
chest.
Yeah. You can kind of tell Soren is like almost like nostalgic of his time here, right?
Well,
And
I
so
think he
Soren
was
has Lars-
changed. He was changed when he realized they let him go. He had this whole badass idea in his head. Oh, I escaped. They were evil. I get out of there. And then he realizes, oh shit, there actually was a lot of great stuff there. If my augmentation, had worked, I probably would have been really happy. And like it felt special to be a part of that again.
Yeah, 100%. So he's like, hey, what do we do? How do we save Kessler? And he's like, nothing. Let's have him get beat the crap up by a bunch of men with batons. Lara's like, bro, what?
Bro.
She runs off. Kessler shows up. Kessler's about to get wrecked. Lara tries to save him. They're about to get wrecked. Soren shows up. Soren fights them all off. Pretty cool fight. And then they get more guards enter and drag Lara and Kessler away. Soren continues to fight them off, and that's the last we see of that scene. Kind of quick, sudden. I'm hoping the last episode doesn't hold on them for too long, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at least brings that conclusion, that story to like a nice kind of like, oh, this is what you were going for, which we got Quan a little bit in this episode,
Yeah, I think if they touch on it just like a little bit, that's fine. But if they don't, then it's fine with me too, because she kind of took him away at the end, and then it seemed like the family kind of split because even though he came in to like help his kid like she wanted, she kind of like pulled him away. And she's like,
I'm almost
lady,
curious.
you kind of did that.
Maybe
like, what you wanted.
He had been a really not scary space pirate man. Maybe this was like the first time they saw him just beat the shit out of someone. That was the only angle I could take. They never saw that side of him, despite him being a rough and tough space pirate. So that's the only thing I can think of is like, we want you to protect him, and then they actually see what that is, which is him beating the shit out of a bunch of other people, and they're like, whoa, I've never actually seen this before.
For sure.
Oh yeah, no, he was.
Yeah, it's like
decimated.
you have a dad that's a soldier. You only see dad at home. You don't see dad being a soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
I guess
That's
I
fair.
could see that part and stuff, but you can kind of see it, in the kid's face and stuff. Like, obviously, they did a good job with it, having him like act that part where he's like, oh, I've never seen that before. I'm kind of scared of my dad,
Mhm.
So that's I think that's probably what they were definitely going for, Jesse.
Yeah, I never saw my dad loading the white phosphorus rounds in Iraq. I only saw him handing out white ice cream, type of thing.
Yeah.
Also, it
Fair
feels like that.
Uh,
It feels like that story is kind of wrapped up.
Yeah.
I don't think we're really going to see anything. There's not like, what is Kessler and and Lara going to do during a battle?
Oh,
Yeah.
they got
They
yoinked by a
there's
couple
much more to
guys.
say.
They gotta
So,
do something.
yeah, I mean they
Yeah.
just got grabbed by soldiers, so they're probably stuck somewhere.
Yeah, that's it for now.
Yeah. Let's shelve that storyline.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. So and then we get another scene, and I actually kind of really like this scene, which is when Chief is confronted by a bunch of Marines and that really annoying Captain
Sikamikanico.
Briggs, I think is her name.
Oh my god. Whenever I
then,
see her
they see
talking, I
Chief.
just laughing. So like bad being bad. I was like, oh my god. This is-
Yeah.
It's the only issue where the Paramount Day players who like are in a bunch of stuff with them or their side characters end up being pretty weak, in my opinion. the main characters all really good for the most part. I think like really good actors and actresses, especially the big ones who get EP roles to really entice them to be on. But when you've got those, I'm in a couple of scenes during a season type of side character, they tend to be weaker.
I'm really gonna go for it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
gotta
like-
really show my acting.
It just made me laugh, and I felt bad because I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
this is funny bad."
yeah. But I did like that scene though, because it showed that like,
Yeah.
oh, now that people know who Chief is,
Yeah,
you
he
know, and
has the
it's like, oh, that's
power.
him. Yeah,
Your propaganda
they
works
follow
two
him.
ways, bitches.
Yeah, they gave him
Yeah.
too much power.
Straight
They
up.
gave him too much propaganda power.
It definitely felt more like they're getting closer to the the game in a sense
Mhm.
where it's like the Marines are always like, oh, it's Chief is here like by us and stuff. It's like you really got to see that
Yeah.
a bit more this episode, and
Yes. Exactly.
and I like that. I mean,
There
they
was
should have
some-
been on Reach too, but
There were some good overacting faces at the very end when he's walking out and everyone's like, oh, like they're pogging.
I gotta go back and catch that. I watched on a
Yeah.
really like low res
Yeah.
stream.
Yeah, no, that I really like that
Anyways,
scene.
the captain-
So she wants to pretty much. She's like, hey, she's trying to pull a cop move, which is like he's resisting arrest when he's not doing anything because he's not fighting back. He's not doing anything. And she's like, stop resisting, shoot him because she
She
won't
was
do it
like,
herself.
immediately, he's
Yeah.
resisting.
Because she is there to kill him. They don't want
Yeah.
because Parangoski has made it very clear. Ooh, our shit will be up if people realize he's alive and they follow him because we've really built
She
him
doesn't
up.
want to be the one to actually do it.
Straight up.
She tries to get other nerd guys to do it, and they're like, "Eat shit, lady. This is the chief." So,
Yeah.
and then Kai, the lady fine is gonna pull out her gun to do it because she's getting very scared because Chief's very big, and Kai just punches her in the back of the neck, which would probably have killed her. It'll be a TV show. She'll just
Honestly,
be
right? Yeah.
she'll be knocked out.
Oh.
But unless Kai
She
was in like
she punched her down. She punched her down.
that's
not
man
good.
that she's
And
not
I
walking.
think this part is I don't know if this is gonna make 100% sense, but this part reminds us about how much power the helmet had outside of our viewing, because people were upset that he's the helmet's off, but now we get to see the effect on everybody else in the military and the infrastructure, the power that he had with his helmet on. So now we get to see that effect.
Yeah.
We got the peek behind the helmet and get to see the inside world, but now we get to the effect on the outside world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I think that's a pretty good take. That that does make a lot of sense.
They've been on a leash, big
Yeah.
time. Their entire adult lives, essentially.
If I don't see her again ever, I'm assuming she's dead. By the way, I'm assuming Kai's not just like killed her. I'm just saying.
That was like an ogre punch. That was like
Well, what I'm gonna say is, the moment what we see happen later with Halsey and Keys and what they find and all that stuff, I'm like, I don't know that anyone in Onyx is gonna be okay in the long run.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
If she's knocked out and things are going down, yeah, be rough.
So Chief and Kai obviously meet up. They have a bit of an argument, and Chief basically accuses Kai of saying, "Hey, like you made the wrong call. Like you put trust in people who wanted us dead, right?" And she's like, well, "Listen, we're human. We make mistakes, right?" And it's a fair line, to be fair, but she did make the wrong call. She's stupid.
The very first time she ever went against him was the worst time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up.
Yep.
Okay, and then we get to the spike. So examining the system spike, Ackerson runs simulations to see if the explosion of a Covenant vessel can encompass a planetary, then system-wide scale. Okay, this is a weird summary. I got to think, but basically he checks the code on the spike thing, realizes, oh wait, this doesn't shut the friggin' ship down, it blows it up. And the explosion's so large that it doesn't blow up a planet, it blows everything up, like the whole flipping fleet for millions of miles, a huge friggin' radius. Before we talk about that, let me just quickly go through this thing. Chief and what's his face, Kai show up. Chief immediately puts him in a headlock.
Neck lock.
Needs the armor.
Yeah, no.
Is it cool?
He has him ready
Sorry,
for a
my
choke
bad. My bad. I
slam,
had like
essentially. Yeah, he's about to choke
choke
slam
slam.
him.
There we go.
Yeah. It was really nice wire
But
work
basically
because
it's
because Pablo Schreiber's not putting effort in. You can tell Chief can just pick this 150,
Yeah.
170
Yeah.
pound man up with no problem because he's so strong.
You're right, actually. I didn't think of that. And then
Mhm.
Paragonski is like, hey, sorry, Ackerson's like, yo, they lied about the spike. It's not system override. It turns the Covenant ship's fusion drives into a massive bomb that can eradicate their fleet, the UNSC fleet, and possibly the Halo itself. She just needs one Spartan 3 to make it. This is my biggest complaint about the episode, I'll be honest. I don't like this
Yeah.
plot point in TV shows or movies. One single MacGuffin. I didn't like it in Star Wars Episode 8, even though I like the movie overall. I don't like it here. If it was that simple, essentially, like,
It
hey, we
does
figure out a way to wipe out
work.
an entire friggin' fleet ever.
It does work in Halo lore. So the way that the Covenant
Yeah.
theoretically works, the way that the Covenant drives work is called, I think it's like pinch warp fusion, where they super condense
Yes,
plasma
yes,
into
yeah.
essentially like almost a black hole and use that energy expenditure to power their engines. So, and the way it works would be the same as like a nuclear bomb, where the longer you can contain it, even if it's like a second, just superpowers the explosion. So theoretically, it does work. Figuring out how to do that, I think the only reason
but
they did.
like a nuclear bomb is one thing. Millions of miles is another. You know what I mean? My issue is a scale. A big bomb, I
Yes.
fully understand,
Mhm.
right? Blowing a ship up, blowing up the ships next to it, I fully get. Blowing up essentially multiple planets in one explosion, that's a little much for me. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
You know?
I
Like,
agree there too. It felt like yeah, it just didn't feel right when they were like, "Oh, you can take out like half
it's a
the
little too
system
plot
or whatever
convenient is my
with
only
one ship."
yeah.
Well, it is
No.
Covenant space magic tech that we don't understand. In that sense, they can slip into space in ways and then travel way faster than the speed of light. Like, you're already working with technology that's just way beyond anything realistic.
Oh,
So
no,
I-
like I'm not refuting the math or the science behind it. I just don't like the writing behind it. I don't like the
Mm.
fact that something like that exists in a TV show personally. Like the science is whatever. I'm perfectly okay with that. But I think it cheapens the war and the scale in general. You have one bomb that can
I
wipe out an entire fleet. You know what I mean?
I
It
think
makes
what
it
they
so it's
should have
sort of like,
done
yeah, especially if it's human made.
I think what they should have done is showed that maybe one wasn't enough to like take out the system, but because there's all those other ships there, it would cause a big enough chain reaction.
well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. You hit it, you get into one.
That's
If it goes to
Yeah.
everything else and their whole fleet is already there, like that's why it was going to do so much because it can, jump between
Yeah,
them.
I mean
But
the
I don't know.
simulation thing didn't
But then
like
that comes
show
into the
that.
science. So
Yeah.
then that comes into the science where you need to go into the ship and mess with the ship's own reactor core to start that chain reaction. Just because that chain reaction hits another reactor core, does that start another chain? You know
Well,
what I mean?
no, I was thinking if it's a virus, if it's essentially
Yeah.
a bunch of code to change how the ship works. If you can get that code to jump from ship to ship, because there's
They should
definitely
transmit it.
there's
true.
so the
That's
chain isn't the explosion. The chain is the code going around very fast because they have fast.
fair.
They
That's
have
fair.
instantaneous comm systems in this universe. They don't, they can just talk to each other across vast distances instantly. So, like the thought of this can very quickly just jump to all these systems because we get it into one, and before they can react, everything goes like that. That's how I took it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But most
That's fair.
people are
Because
me
to be
watching
fair,
it, and I'm
something like
like,
this-
wow, that's big. I'm probably most
I'd
people.
like- to be
Just
fair,
like, wow, that's bad.
I feel like something like this would only work once, right? You do it once, the Covenant's like, okay, change something in our own like defenses. Don't let that ever happen again. All right, let's move on. You know what I mean?
And I honestly think that's kind of why Parangosky was so into doing it because they had so many ships there that they could just not decimate. Decimate's 10%. They could quintuple mate. They could take out like half their friggin' fleet. They could just completely annihilate a large portion of their fighting force.
At first when they were talking about like the strange anomaly near it or whatever, I was thinking that I was like, oh, maybe it's the High Charity and stuff. I was like, are they gonna, is that why there's such a huge fleet? And then it was like, it's like, oh no, it's the ring and stuff. And I was like,
High
because
Charity
I
wouldn't
guess,
be affected, I feel, right? I mean, High Charity is
well, I mean, just for like a reference for like why
foreigner.
so many people are there is because like of High
Oh yes,
Charity
sorry, my bad. Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was originally thinking, but then like they're kind of leaning more as like, oh no, they're actually at the ring already.
Yeah, and they were
Or
being
something.
chased. So, and
Yeah.
the arbiters group ship was being chased by everyone because they weren't answering hails or anything.
Yeah, but which I guess is like another part too. I know. I was like when they were getting chased and stuff, and if they arrived at the ring, because I thought the Covenant stuff was looking for the ring and everything too. You'd think that they would stop trying to kill them or something. I don't know. And I
I
guess
mean,
now with
probably.
how the Covenant is, but they were still getting shot at the ship when they
Yeah,
were apparently
getting
heading
now
towards
that
the
they know
ring.
where the ring is, they don't need them, and they went rogue, so they don't trust them. Like, what if they get to the ring
Yeah,
and use
Also,
it
if
first?
they're running towards the ring, you
yeah,
shoot them down for sure, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. So I guess so. Yeah.
no portal, eh? My prediction was completely wrong. I genuinely thought there'd be a giant portal that would take them to the ring. No, they just figured it out through the star map system and slip place there instead. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that works. So it's not too far gone to believe that that's how they would do it. Now, them going into like a visualization walk of seeing touching the artifacts and kind of going that roundabout way. I was like, okay, they already showed that they can kind of go into the ring, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
that's
just
a
go
holdover from
go
season
into the
one.
little
I'm okay
vision
with that.
thing and see the stars in the sky, and we'll map the place." I was like, okay, they're grasping at straws, but that's how they're gonna explain it. Okay,
I do wonder
I'll
if
imply.
I
they
mean,
ever go back, if they ever do the arc theme and go back to Reach or the arc portal that's on Earth, like because all that stuff's canon.
it'd be Earth.
So yeah, if they would go, because there's a portal on Earth, or there's a way to get through it on Earth, and then there's a full time portal on Reach in the books that they put there,
Yeah,
and that's how Atriox got back. So
yeah. But okay, continuing on. So Chief says that his intent was to kill Ackerson, but then decides that Ackerson will tell everybody what he and Paragonski did at Reach or did to Reach. And Ackerson's like, "Oh, they'll never believe me," and he's like, "They'll believe me," and he's not wrong. Chief then tells Kai that he can't go with her and that he intends to go to the Halo, while Kai says that he will join the Spartan IIIs. I'm not gonna lie, when I watched the episode, I did not realize Chief said he was gonna go to Halo. I was a little confused, I'm not gonna lie, on where he was going. I'm like, okay, I know you're doing something else. I'm just not sure exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, I think I missed that part too, and I was a bit confused until then. I was like, it's like, oh, okay.
yeah, because
It kind of
everyone,
sucks that the show was only 8 episodes.
yeah, because like in the next scene with Perez, everything's like, oh shit, you can really help us turn the tide of this battle. You're so goddamn good and special. And I think he's never really bought into that. He's just kind of taken that as the propaganda. But I do think that other people who have fought with him are like, no, you actually are flipping nuts, man. Please come help save us.
He's like the nerdy girl with the glasses on. Like, you don't know how beautiful you are. Except like,
I do like the part where
he's different and he just doesn't realize it.
Where Perez says, like, do you ever think that you just oh gosh, I can't remember the line, but it's basically like,
Yeah, that you made it turn heads.
Yeah,
and he was like, oh.
Yeah, I was like,
Had a
oh,
really good
okay.
epiphany face.
like he's so good. He knows exactly how to flip it, and he can also, in the books, he could just see it. His eyesight was so good, he could see where it was landing in her hand. So, like he was that fantastic at pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, I could actually see it land on that. Does that mean I actually made it do that? Or, it's sort of like, what's really going on there? Yeah, it's like, it made you think of that line. It's like, oh, like people really think that he could do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, power of belief. what I was saying earlier was I really feel like this season not just needed. I feel like there might have been one more episode. You know, how, like we had the Reach episode, right, with no Kai at all. I feel like
Yeah.
there was another episode with just Kai and the Spartan IIIs. I feel like we're missing that
It's
in this
the
season.
it's the issue with
You
the
know?
budget, and like you can just and they would last season. I think they had more reuse sets, have people talking to each other episodes that
Yeah.
helped keep the budget down. But this year they had more money, so they could do more bespoke looking areas and not have to reuse stuff all the time. But that also comes with the if you've got this set amount of time, you got these people for this set amount of time. Like there just end up being so many reasons why you end up getting what you get. So I'm
Yeah.
very curious what the plans are, how
And-
they change.
Because this season is one episode shorter than the last season, I believe. Season 1 is, I think, 9 episodes. This is 8. I'm pretty sure. I have to double check that, but I'm fairly
Sounds right.
fairly confident on
Again,
that.
look, bro.
But like, for example, when Kai says, I gotta go with my Spartans, they're mine. I felt like I got it, but it would have really hit the point more if we had that episode with her training these Spartans, really, them becoming hers.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
more
lot
so
of
season 1 was 9.
a lot of
simulation.
buying.
But
Yeah,
okay,
it's
all
a
right,
lot of
moving on.
buying into a scene or two that try to fill you in on what's been going on for a while. So you got to have that approach to it to really get what they were trying to sell.
Okay, moving on. So now comes the really interesting part of the episode with Quan, Halsey, Miranda. I'll read most of it out and then we'll talk about it. Actually, no, this part was kind of interesting. So first, Halsey tells Miranda that she found a DNA sample in the Solarian onyx when she first opened the trove, explaining that it was both human and not.
The moment I heard
and
that,
she
it was
gathered a
very
team to
late.
search for people who exhibited.
I thought she was saying she found
Yeah.
jizz. And then I was like, oh, there's DNA and blood and stuff. It's not that. I was really tired. I was like confused.
Something like skin particles or something. But she found human DNA, or human and not, and she gathered people based off of that human DNA for her initial Spartan 2 selection search, which I don't think is book canon. No one was really talking about it, but I don't think it is. But it does kind of make sense in a way.
Yeah. It's kind of adjacent to 343 canon, at its very least, because talking about the DNA markers and stuff. I think in the games they touched on that, in Halo 4, I believe. So it's not too far to make that leap for the TV show.
Book canon, it makes a lot of sense. Essentially, gene songs and people that have the gene
Yeah,
song
the
of
Geish.
older ancient
Yeah.
humanities.
I always took the gene song as it's
Geish,
literally just
exactly.
something in there. They've got different DNA sequences in there than normal people, the markers.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I took it as what she's saying. Like they've got the gene song. They've got the your
That's
special
exactly what I assumed.
stuff.
But again,
Yeah.
that's like deep like foreigner lore. So I'm kind of curious how deep they're going with this.
Oh, I think
I
mean it
but
is
okay. Quan,
it is
Yeah.
it's Kiki Wolfkill who said I was trying to make this show for 10 years and she's been leading the books and all that stuff and she loves it and they friggin', as I said, they brought back Kelly Gay to do an incredible book in Halo Epitaph to wrap the Forerunner trilogy up, like that I never thought would happen. They actually wrapped up the story of Halo 4 and 5 right into Infinite. Like I think they like that story plot thread. I think the people who pushed for it are still there. And that's why it got dropped in Halo 5, but they're still pushing it because it's good shit.
makes sense. I like it personally. I mean, I think it helps better explain the whole Chosen One aspects a lot better.
I'll have to read
than
it.
Just he's a video game player. But okay. Continuing on. I scrolled up too much. Okay. Quan makes a star map appear by picking a glowing rock thing. But she figures out that it's not a map, it's a clock. But she's seen the original star, the original Forerunner stars in her dreams. Again, this is definitely Gene Song, Gage stuff, 100%. She recalls the cave markings where she wrote them all out, and she moves the constellations to the right place, which unlocks the door, and inside a light bridge appears. I'm not gonna lie, I had the biggest grin on my face When I saw
Mhm.
that show up, it was so good. Also, that was a Pixar lamp, by the way. That thing was tiny. That door is normal sized. Just saying. Okay, inside, they find a laboratory filled with files. And at the far end of the room lies a curled up humanoid body clutching something in its six-figured hand. I think this is our first look at a Forerunner other than the ones we see in Halo 4
Yeah.
ever. Other
Yeah.
than
Well, I mean, there's some of the animated series stuff. They make some appearances there.
yeah.
And some comics and stuff too. But yeah, it's definitely our first on screen. And when they were first walking into that door and they were talking about like that the other symbol like was like a decay
Yes,
or
there
whatever.
was another
I was
symbol.
like, oh
Yeah.
great. They put the flood on Onyx. I was like, come on. That's the one thing I hated. I was like, oh, really? I'm like,
They
it's
had
supposed to be
research
a shield
facilities
world.
Spoiler
not on the
alert.
ring.
Yeah, I know that, but it was like, it's like Onyx was because I don't think they I thought only had like the flood spores and stuff on the rings.
They
And
had
not on the shield worlds.
Specifically Installation 04, I think, was a research facility to contain even the flood a little bit. Like
yeah. So it's like when they made that change, I was like, man, it's like I wanted it on the ring and stuff, not on Onyx. But I guess
But
I
it
don't
could be
know.
both.
That's just like
Could
a
be both.
personal thing of mine. And yeah, it could still be on the ring, and maybe maybe the Onyx places how they discover it enough, and maybe it gets released on the ring instead of Onyx. And who knows?
No,
But
in the lore, they definitely had research facilities all over the place because they needed everyone they could working to try and figure out how to stop them. And in the end, the only thing they found was starve them. That was it. That's the only way you can kill the flood, essentially, or stop their growth.
I finished Primordial again, like a day or two ago, and that twist at the end got me again. I can't believe I forgot it, and I'm just like, oh my god, yeah. I don't want to spoil it again for anyone watching. It concerns the flood, and it was so cool when it happened. I was just Anyway, sorry.
So
tangent.
no, it's because I just saw this. So Keys, Keys is in a location with the flood.
So
are they
okay,
gonna
so
do the Halo 1 thing?
So let's decide right now. Is there flood in that room? What's there flood? Because okay, they entered the room. The vials
100%.
cracked. There's a Forerunner holding an artifact that looked more like an index, to be honest. More like less like a. We didn't see any spores. We didn't see any gross.
But we did see her open it at the end.
Yeah, and
so it was definitely.
But she opened it in like a. But it wasn't like a.
It split open.
Like a lab room.
It slid open, and there was like a little
like a
little poof that came out.
Little hissing poofy sound.
And they've been hinting at the flood all season, so I was immediately like,
"There's a sound of it opening," but I don't think there was something.
I bet you it is.
With the door saying like the decay and the growth and stuff like that, that making it like turn into a negative symbol and everything, that kind of alludes to it. All the hints leading up to it, and with Quan Ha and and all those like kind of vials and stuff, and then as soon as they started kind of cracking, everything kind of started shutting down and like trying to go into lockdown mode. I think it's pretty safe to say that the containment stuff, I think it's pretty safe to say that stuff's in there.
I feel like Quan is connected to this in some way, since we have the well here and then the well on her world. It's almost like their family was being protectors from the flood, so that's why she has a connection to all of this.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
That's what I thought.
They haven't done much teleportation like they do in the games, where it's mainly the Forerunners were able to do that. I wouldn't be shocked if the monitor we saw in Season 1 is able to teleport essentially between Forerunner facilities. So anywhere that's got a well means there is a Forerunner facility there. It was probably a research facility because they were just spending eons trying to figure out how to destroy the flood. Because they had like a whole. So I wouldn't be shocked if we end up, if that part comes back. They definitely seem to have dropped the stuff from season 1 that doesn't work and are really focusing on the stuff that people wanted a lot more. And they're still going about it in their own way. But it's starting to feel like this is setting up their version of Halo CE's starting point, essentially.
Yeah.
Just without the key ship and all that stuff. It'd be cool if we see some of those.
I mean, Halo CE in the game was just an action movie, right? They're taking a more like action and scientific approach, like a full-on sci-fi approach to it. I'm okay with that. Like,
yeah, I mean, the story at that time, the budget, the actual time they could spend on cutscenes, like we just got little tiny cutscenes in the beginning. We got a cutscene at the beginning, cutscene at the end of the game. Like, I mean, that game was thrown together pretty damn quickly. Halo 2 was thrown together
like
pretty
just
damn
the word
quickly.
for playing the level.
Yeah,
It's like a 2-minute cutscene, essentially.
it wasn't until 3 that it actually became this overarching narrative from them, and that shifted. So until you get to like that point, you have so much you have to fill in, because those games were floaty tank shooting, man. Like they were just a lot of fun. They weren't deep. The lore in the books was deep, and Bungie hated that. And they didn't want that. So
yeah, straight up.
We'll probably see more like on location kind of stuff for sure, which hopefully means that they can do a bit more with some of the budget, because if they can just go to locations like probably the Pacific Northwest, you know,
well, like building that Forerunner room,
still need to
I
make
cannot
Forerunner
imagine how
facilities.
expensive that was, because that looked incredible and huge. And that had to cost a lot of money to make. So, but hopefully they built it in a way they can just repurpose it for future Forerunner rooms, kind of like the games do.
I really loved the aesthetic too. Just from the kind of old Delta Halo kind of vibe to like the new Halo Infinite sort of look. I was always been a fan of like mixing those two together. And I think it's called Forge Runner in the Forge community. That's kind of what it is, meshing the two styles together. And so I always liked that. And then obviously, like, you know, when they showed the massive underground like city and everything, like that showed definitely like, okay, Onyx is a giant shield world. Like they are on a giant Forerunner planet. This shows the scope. It showed all the layers. I was like, that's a really cool shot. I mean, if I was Halsey, I'd probably stop, but I probably wouldn't stop on a light bridge. I'd probably go to the edge and look over, you know. But yeah, I did like that shot. I hope we see a little bit more of that kind of stuff too.
Your Aarsal's poor camera has been pausing at the worst faces. Both eyes closed. It might be completely down this time. We did miss Miranda learning, and really hoping he wasn't, but learning that her dad had died. She was like, it's a big we're getting rescues every day, you know, maybe it wasn't him. And friggin' her mom is like, I was there, I saw it, I'm really sorry. It was the first time I've probably ever cried. She didn't say that, but I assume that with the way how sociopathic she is in this one. But it was in the part on the light bridge where she had been calling her Halsey the entire time, and at the end she's like, Mom, to wake her up. It's like, he had definitely frozen. He can get himself back in. Well, shit, I don't remember. I can pull up my review, and then I might be able to remember where the show was, and I can lead the topic for a second. Or actually, let me bring up that debrief. Silver debrief.
So why you do that? Like that. We called the mom and stuff. I was like, okay, that's a good touch. It kind of shows a little bit more. Like I felt like when they were down, kind of in the research and stuff. It's the show trying to be like, okay, let's kind of build this familial bond a little bit. Like let's try to get them to bond in some way in kind of a short amount of time. And then she like asks like, oh, did you get the stamp or she's like, oh, you got it right? And then pulled out the sleeve and everything.
I got it. And also you can definitely feel like Miranda's not super trustful of Oni, like keeping it, hey, he's coming back, like the way she's keeping it hidden and all that stuff. She knows how to play their game, essentially.
I'll be honest, like when they had that body on the ground, I was like, "Is this thing gonna move?"
I know. I
Like,
turned
so
my
I was like,
volume down.
I was like, "Is this thing
This
gonna
thing
like
jumps up. I'm
move
gonna.
and show like the flood or something like that?" Like, I don't know. I was like, 100% this thing's gonna move. I've
If
seen
the flood
enough
is gonna pop
movies.
up right now,
I'm
Yeah,
done.
very curious what if the flood's in the show this season. What does it end up looking like? Like, does it? Because a mix of practical, but I don't think they'll go the full like friggin' Last of Us giant rubber suits with really good CGI. I think I'm gonna guess they'd most likely go more practical with
They'll go
some
minimal. They'll
CGI
go really
elements. Yeah, because
I don't know.
it's really gross in
hope
the
they don't.
games.
It is really gross in the games, and it's like that's why I kind of hope that they go a bit more like Last of Us kind of style, like big
The
with
flood.
the stuff
I
because
don't think
like
it should
they
be.
could do the suits with it.
Yeah.
So and they could do some cool makeup and
Like
everything. And
sorry. Okay. Yeah. I feel like it. Like if they're doing the flood, I feel like it really shouldn't be like revealed until like a few episodes of like horror style build up. You know what I mean? Slow, kind of menacing. You only
It
see a little
definitely
bit
needs
here and there.
a tonal shift
then-
right off the bat. It needs to immediately start
Oh,
becoming
100%.
horror. Yeah.
100%.
yeah,
And
if
then
they
like
don't
maybe
go
one
that
shot
route.
near the end of the season or of like a ton of them. Like
Yeah, I hope they do some kind of like teaser next episode, and stuff towards the flood. Like I really hope we get that. But yeah, they definitely need to go the more horror route with it, to do the flood right because like
Mhm.
you know
so.
they need to really touch on that. I think.
So here's my theory with the room. I know it had the flood symbol. I know it had the vials. I know it's like it kind of seems like the flood came out. My theory is in the hand wasn't the flood spore because keeping it in some tiny thing is dumb. Especially the floors are like this big, like huge, right? At least ones we see. I think it's more like an index with the knowledge, the foreigner's knowledge of the flood, at least some aspect of it, which is why the old lady was leading Kwan towards that area. Is what I think. I mean, we'll see how it pans out, but they are going to a Halo, which we know for sure has flood on it. And I think this is more so to start building up the next big bad of the next season, you know, more so than to immediately introduce one and be like, oh, this is now a problem.
Well, Noob Cyber
Yeah,
thinks there
I-
won't be flood
what I
till
think. I mean, we'll
season
see.
4. I vehemently disagree.
What?
They're building up too much.
Yes,
yeah,
right.
they're building up too much. If anything, you know, it might be a like a mid-season thing, kind of when it appears, so that way they can do a lot more building up through the rest of the season. We'll see hints of it, probably hear like offhand accounts, you know, kind of stuff. You know, maybe some like found footage sort of deals like they did with
Once
Halo 1.
again,
That'd
people
be-
aren't going to believe Chief.
yeah. I do
Be like, this is what I saw, and everybody's going to be like, no, you don't know what you saw, Chief.
Well,
you didn't know anything.
Did you guys talk about how like when they leave and like the map starts turning red and Halsey's like, look at their conquest, and Kwan's like, oh hell no, just like dips. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, we didn't touch on that,
You know?
but yeah, that was good. That's I forgot about that.
Kwan's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
She just completely booked it right. I assumed she literally just beeline never stopped running until she was in the ship, like starting up the sequence to try and leave.
Yeah.
Also, you think it might
even
be
when they
some
were
sort
going
of,
in, Kwan's like, wait.
because her family has been the Guardians, so she might have some sort of like cellular level, like, this is bad, we need to get the fuck out, like just beyond being like situationally scared. She has a, you know, like a very deep internal response to what's happening, being a protector or guardian or whatever they whatever we find out that her and her family are.
What's in the foreigner name for the flood is the shaping sickness, right? The flood is what the humans called it. So it's also kind of the third word for it is like decay, growth. You know, man, I can't wait, dude.
Yeah,
like
that symbol.
I feel
if
like
you watch
Especially,
installation,
like, remember the
00?
first episode?
Yeah, it's just literally that
00?
is the flood containment thing. Yeah. That is the flood containment symbol, essentially.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because Miranda was
Okay,
like, they haven't worked out what the one on the top means.
Yeah.
The symbol on the top.
Okay. So Miranda reveals that she retrieved the device of dead foreigner was holding. As they're examining it in the lab, she finds a way to open it, and then in the background you hear a bunch of like, unauthorized personnel, get the flip out. Unauthorized personnel, get out. And Miranda looks up, and her mom's just gone. She's like, "Where'd you go?" I'm like, "Lady, what do you expect?"
Yeah,
Either way,
she has
opens
said
it,
"mom"
it opens.
again, like, and then all of a sudden it's like she's just gone. It's like,
So
fuck.
Halsey needs to run
Yeah.
away.
They were bonding.
Yeah.
They were
Well,
bonding. She needed to fuck it up.
Well, Halsey's like, she's finally seeing her daughter for how brilliant she is, and like just realizing, oh,
Yeah.
I actually really care about you,
Yeah.
because the moment your dad died, I just fell apart for a little while, and it's like, I don't want to lose you too.
Oh, speaking of, sorry, we didn't touch on it.
I
but,
did mention that
Miranda,
while you were off.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome. Perfect.
Daddy.
Yeah. Maybe he made it up. And I was just like, nah, I saw it. He gone. Okay. So now next time we see Chief, fully armored up, no helmet, of course. He approaches Perez alone, and she's stunned to find that he's alive. She asks if he's coming with them, but says nope, needs a different mission. And this is where we talked about it earlier a bit, where Perez tells him that she believes that Chief made it so that the coin is heads, not luck, not a good eyesight. It's just Chief willed it, and so it is. We already talked about it a bit.
Chief practiced for 50 hours on
Ackerson-
exactly how to flip a coin to make it always land the way he wants. He's a carny, essentially.
I'm pretty sure he can respawn still. Ackerson rejoins Paranovsky, and she reveals that, hey, by the way, you unauthorized. Okay, so this part I kind of liked, because in my head I'm thinking, how did no one know what this spike did? But then it turns out that it was a secret-only spike, and he wasn't authorized to check the code out. He did. She figured it out. He's punished for it. I like that aspect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Just for the audio side of things, I have to call John on it a lot when he's going with his mouth like constantly smacking.
I don't
his lips.
I don't have my usual pop filter in front of me that I usually have. Okay, so the Master Chief responds. So this whole time, Paranovsky and Ackerson are talking, and then the Condor takes off without being told. And they're like, "Who's driving that Condor?" And Chief's like, "It's me." And everyone's like, "The flip." And Ackerson's like, "Ha ha ha, Paranovsky, I told you." And she's like, "Arrest this man!" And they instantly arrest him. And she's like, "Don't listen to me, but don't listen to the Chief. Don't listen to the Chief." As he's being carried away. It's a little comedic, but it was okay, I guess.
I immediately could see the plates in her head spinning to try and figure out how can I change this to not get me in deep shit. Yeah.
I think they did a good job of this season and stuff with like Ackerson and stuff, because like towards the end or in this episode I was like you have me kind of rooting for this guy now. It's like, I know he's not the best, but I'm like,
but he's seen the right path now.
Yeah.
He's on the up with his arc. So
yeah, I was like,
you're okay to feel that way.
Yeah, I was kind of going. Like, okay, let's go Paranovsky, and then I was like,
one of the biggest issues we had with Ackerson was that he let Reach die, right? But now we find out that it was an order from above, technically, right? So that, I guess, alleviates some of the
when you go back and you look and see
father.
how much it affected him too during that episode. Like he's like, I killed my dad by showing him my dead sister, and like it lost everything. He's like, it's been a nice character arc and good development. Like, yeah, he's not a great guy, that from what we've seen, but maybe he could be better. He could be decent.
Yeah, he was in the same position. Like, what can I do? What can I do besides what Oni is telling me is the best thing to do in this moment?
To be fair, Keyes was in that same position, and he chose to stand and fight, right? He's like, screw Oni. I'm
now
doing
he's
what
dead.
I do, right? And if more people but if more people had that kind of courage, right, or had that kind of like friggin' humanity, maybe things would be different. But it is what
I
it
don't
is.
know. Looking at the day, looking at the world today, Parangosky's pretty human.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
fair enough.
We
Oh,
call
yeah.
it humanity about being good, and like it's also plenty human to be
It's
a piece of shit.
I think it's an ideal, probably. We didn't talk about it, but I really liked that conversation with Chief and Ackerson, where he's like, everyone pays the cost eventually, right? Now it's your turn.
Yeah.
And he's
how,
like,
like,
I'll be
they-
ruined. And he's like, yeah, deal with it.
The upper people never see it. They send people to die, and they don't see them die. They're just like, oh, that's a number off the page. That's a piece off my board. But when it comes home, it's very much the thing you see with politicians and rich people who just get so used to being able to, oh, I'm just going to fire these, 4,000 people from this company. I'm not getting fired, though. I'd be really sad if I was, except for I'd get a golden parachute. Well, this is you getting fired with no golden parachute. This is if Bobby Kotick got, cut and thrown in jail immediately after instead of getting 450 million to go try and buy TikTok or Paramount. Like, it's actual consequences.
But I mean, if it's like a Halo universe, chances are he'll be put in some other kind of Oni laboratory secret. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of how it works usually.
Mhm.
Also, the show didn't mention it, but Canon Ackerson was, I think, supposed to be part of UNSC first, right? Like he was, if not a Marine, he was in the Army, I believe, before he went to ONI.
I think so, yeah.
But anyways. I wonder if we see Pillar of Autumn next episode. Maybe not. Who knows? Let's see. I doubt it.
Maybe some of the ships that are like that, but I don't think they'll if that ship ever shows up, it'll probably be something built up and special in some way.
Yeah, or it'll be
Fair enough.
Not like
or
a cameo.
yeah.
Or what if they pull a Jimmy
They show it
Olsen?
for a second, it gets destroyed.
Jimmy Olsen in Batman versus Superman Deluxe Edition, and it says, "Here's a Pillar of Autumn," and then it immediately gets blown up, just gone.
Yeah.
Right.
It could potentially be on Onyx. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they've moved around where things are so much that kind of changed what places are and stuff. So it's like I could see it being on Onyx if they wanted to try to send some ships or something, or it just comes in and just appears.
I was thinking it could be in like the space battle that's gonna happen, but then again, in Parangonsky's head, every ship there is gonna blow the flip up. So you don't send any of your big ships anywhere close to that vicinity, right?
And because all of them there are like condors and stuff. So
we've only seen condors or pelicans the entire series. We haven't seen a single big ship, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talked about it in Reach, but we didn't. Yeah, because those are probably gonna be real expensive. And I mean, a finale is where you would show.
No, we
probably.
did. Season 1, episode 5, in the outdoor battle, there was a giant ship that just got obliterated in atmosphere when they were being attacked. I'm pretty sure
that was the Pillar
you
of
see
Autumn.
it crash down to the ground. That was a really cool start to that battle. Okay, all right. Finishing up the episode, we have back to Maki for a bit. Arbiter Varga Tanai approaches Maki and says, "Hey, the priest Lotus are dead." Oh yeah, I kind of skipped over, but Maki kills the prophet dude.
Cortana distracts him.
Cortana.
Yeah, so he's chasing her down. He doesn't know where she is exactly, but Cortana shows up and's like, "Hey, distraction!" And he turns around and goes, "Oh shit!" and gets stabbed in the heart by Maki. Yeah. And Cortana was talking, saying Healy.
Flashbacks.
Yeah. That's cool. I still need to go back and watch that behind the scenes thing where they talk about the language. I haven't had time to do that yet.
Yes. I watched it last, like when season 1 aired. I gotta watch it again. Okay. The Arbiter says that Maki has shown him his redemption because they found the ring. And Maki then brands herself with the mark of shame, binding the Arbiter's loyalty to her, though Maki notes that they are bound to the ring.
And you get a little bit of booba there. Not a lot, but a little.
Yeah.
That's
really
for the guys. Yeah. I mean, when she loosed her thing and they're all scrunched up, it's for, you need a little titillation every now and then.
No, I didn't notice any of that.
We got butts in the first season.
Oh my God.
We get some cleavage in this one. That's about it.
A lot of them.
One kiss between the guys couple who both then immediately died.
Last paragraph. Arriving. Yeah, straight up in the very next episode, or maybe two more. Anyways, arriving at the Soel system, the chief finds a coin he gave Perez in the flight console. Upon exiting subspace, the chief finds the Covenant fleet, sees the Arbiter's ship heading for the Halo. Halo theme music plays, episode ends, season finale next week.
As soon as they were like that scene started, because I wasn't watching the runtime of the episode, I was like, oh damn, this is the end. I know this is the end of the episode now. I know they're gonna cut it and leave a cliffhanger. It's like I watched too much TV to know this. And then sure enough, after I thought that, I was like, credits rolled, and I was like, damn it.
I had one main thought in my head. If they get on the Halo in the next episode, it has to hit with like the full chant music, like the moment we see him. So we have to see that.
Yes.
100%.
As we get into the more game stuff, I'm also hoping they start, because they've been pulling names and themes from the games in the books, but I really hope they pull some like shots and some things that just really feel like direct out of a Halo game, and he'll have the freaking helmet on. I know it's not on because he's not in active combat, so why would he have it on the whole time? So people can calm down. He will have his freaking helmet on next episode.
Yeah. Yes. I didn't watch the preview.
Are getting like withdrawals from not seeing Chief in his suit for 2 episodes.
The preview's not too spoilery. It is a little spoilery. It's not too bad. Definitely.
They're really short. Only like 40 seconds usually. So
yeah, I think it's like 30 because I had to, when I was doing the review, I had that play to start, and then I just had to go with the full season 2 trailer rotating because I recorded the episode. I could have taken clips from it, but that would have made it take way longer to get good clips. I would have been up till like 6 a.m. So I was like, it's not worth it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was episode 7, Thermopylae. As we're approaching our season finale, we have Chief on his way, it seems like, towards Maquis and Cortana, who are heading towards the Halo. We have Kai, Perez, and a bunch of Spartan IIIs heading towards a Covenant vessel to try and suicide bomb all of them, every single one of them.
Unknowingly suicide bomb.
Speaking of, unknowingly, though Kai and Chief know. Though I think Kai and Chief did have a talk, and I think Chief essentially said, like, do it. Like, maybe that is the best thing to do. Is just
if you have to, if they're gonna, like, if it comes down to it, and you've got to do it, then just do it.
Yeah. Sorry. And then we have Soren and
HaloEra.
We have Soren. My mic is so far.
Oh, I know. I'm used to it. When we were on our shittier internet, I got used to this unbelievably long lag.
Soren and Lara and Kestari are kidnapped by some guards, and Soren's still having the time of his life, beating the crap out of unpowered people with no guns, so no threat to him. I guess I'm assuming we'll have some kind of conclusion to their story arc a little bit. Other than that, we have Maquis and the Arbiter heading towards the ring, and Ackerson currently being restrained. I think that summarizes all our players for the most part, and their positions coming into the next and final episode of season.
They arrested Ackerson.
What did you guys
HaloEra and Kessler? I'm guessing that they're all arrested essentially. So I do think like the finale is going to.
Still fighting. So I don't think we can get.
Yeah. The finale will definitely be squishing things together to be able to streamline telling its actual final story for the season.
I think I hope they don't focus too heavily on the side stories for sure. It's like if they like I said, those one people got arrested and stuff. It's like for me, like if they don't even show up in the next episode, I'm fine with that. Maybe a little bit of Ackerson and stuff like that to try to convince the others around him or whatever it may be. If it's not just thrown in a cell and locked there for forever. But I think that if they do show the others, I just want it to be real light. I think they'll show a bit more because I didn't watch the preview of whatever of the next episode. I try to like not watch them because I like to kind of go in.
I haven't seen them either yet. Yeah.
But my hope is that they touch a lot more on the ring. I hope it's like I want to say 75% of the episode I want to see on the ring. It's probably a bit heavy, but it's like they need to show a lot of stuff with the ring. I think
you don't want to save that
for
a new season.
I
imagine they'll touch the ring, like they'll be on the ring, but like most of like the ring, like brand new exploration, I feel like that should be like the focus of like full story, not the end of the,
I guess like I mean it's like I want them to be like boots on the ground on the ring and stuff. Maybe not doing a lot of the exploration, but like have the ring be be the main focus. And obviously we know the title of the last episode is Halo, so
yes.
It's like they should, but they've also been teasing it, for basically 2 seasons now. So
literally
they have to be on a lot, or it has to be definitely the main focus. If not, I think they're gonna really miss the mark and make some people mad.
I think the episode will revolve around it. Funny, but it won't. But it won't be. It won't be most. They'll land on the ring definitely, but it'll probably end. I mean, you gotta have a cliffhanger of some kind, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the cliffhanger might be the flood a bit more.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what I want to see? The thing we haven't seen in this show that has always been such a big part of the games would be Chief crashing on something.
Grunts.
I would like to see him crash.
Grunts. Yeah.
Grunts.
It's been all elites pretty much with a little bit of jackals.
Yeah. It would be cool to see some
Yeah,
grunts.
I guess maybe they thought the grunts were just a little too goofy for the tone of this season.
Yeah, and the Arbiter's forces seem to
never be
almost
too goofy.
His forces seem to be almost entirely elites. So
yeah. I got cut off. I didn't want it to end it. I don't think you can get too goofy because I do, but I meant like too goofy for grunts because I like grunts.
Yeah,
I bet you.
And now it'd be
interesting
if they go. Yeah, if they go more to the horror route and then have the grunts in there as the comedic thing, that's gonna be a weird back and forth. But I think it could work. It could work, I think, but
not unless you see their bodies everywhere.
Yeah.
Aw, I know. I would feel so bad for the grunts. Jesse's always like, well, I mean, and I'm like, I don't care. Well, I mean, they're cute and I like the little grunts. I like listening to their little conversations.
They're little slaves. Like I feel very bad for them.
I know.
They were completely
That's
enslaved.
why I was like, I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
They're like, what did they do?
They breathe in farts. That's their atmosphere too. Like just pure methane.
They insulted my driving. That's what they
and they explode into
confetti.
What do you call it? Confetti.
Yeah. We did see him in season 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were in season 1.
Because I was trying to remember if they got the size right, because a lot of people think that elites or grunts are small, but they're
the
size
like,
of
they're
a
pretty big
full-grown person.
Yeah,
they're like teenager size.
Yeah.
Interesting. Travis saying, I want to see the Chief bring the Covenant back their bomb. It'd be pretty interesting if they do some kind of version of that, because we know there's like space battles ish. That'd be cool. I don't know. That'd be oh man, I want to watch the episode already.
If they did something like that, I don't know. That would be cool to see. But with Chief just heading straight to the ring, I don't think he's going to really be involved in the space.
You say that, right? But we have a shot of the back of a Pelican opening up in space and Chief standing, right?
Oh.
Spoiler, it's in the trailer. I'm sorry. So that's how I know he doesn't go straight to Halo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was in the season 2 opening trailer, right as that cacophony was going, really singing their goddamn minds out. Yeah.
Also, the Instagram titles for each individual episode, the one that says Halo was that shot of Chief and the Pelican door opening and him looking out to the space battle that's where the Halo episode title came in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just saying.
Or Noob says, I can see
but
McKee being
enough
the one that takes the role of prophet of regret. So I think that might be a good thought. I think it is going to end up being Chief versus McKee, like an arch in.
And she's going to get a floating chair, and he's going to jump on the floating chair and punch her in the face. And she's going to go, oh, oh, oh.
I think that definitely an offshoot sect is probably going to form around her.
Yeah, that was the heretics in Halo 2, essentially. I think a lot of people think they'll be the heretic. She'll be the heretic leader, essentially.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, because Prophet of Regret, you need that scene with him, Gravemind, and the monitors for installation Delta. What's the Halo to go to in Halo 2 again?
The Halo 2 I thought that was 04 because you
3?
You go back to it.
No, 4 is Halo 1. I'm 100% sure.
Well, yeah, but I think in Halo 2.
No, Halo 2 is a new Halo.
Installation 02, which is the same
gone,
one
bro. You blow it up. You blow it up in Halo C, dude.
It was Installation 02, which is also the one for Infinite, if memory serves.
Installation 02.
Yeah.
No, Infinite's on Station 7. I'm fairly certain.
Yes.
Yeah,
Infinite is the
but I rewatched that cutscene again recently. But you need Prophet of Regret for that cutscene with the Gravemind and the monitor and them speaking to each other. So well done. Zeta Halo, my bad. Zeta Halo, sorry.
Mm-hmm. It is 07. Zeta Halo. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but it's a bigger ring.
I was gonna say.
Yes. Yeah, it's the Greek numbering, I think, or Latin numbering, whatever. They're the same. Nick, don't yell at me.
Wait, which one was Prophet of Mercy again? I'm trying to remember.
Wasn't he the one that was on Halo 2 or something at being like consumed by a flood? I thought that was him.
That is the one that
like is he dying on
the one that
Arbiter side
silences?
That was Regret. Isn't it? No, Truth.
That was Regret.
That's Truth.
Gosh, that's true. That's very ending. That's Halo 3.
Yeah.
Right. I am the voice of the covenant.
Yeah. He is the one that gets consumed by like Gravemind and all them. All the flood seas.
Yes. Okay. So Mercy. Yeah. More regret is what we make regret these. That was a good line. Okay. Enough about future episodes. What did you guys think overall? If you had to give this episode a rating, your last final thoughts on it overall.
I can do that real easy. I gave it a rating on our website. I gave it an 8.5. Really enjoyed it.
8.5. Nice and neat. For those curious and want more structured thoughts on Jesse's thoughts on the episode, check out our video review on the channel.
They're kind of structured.
Our website where he has it all written out.
I was really tired, so it's very. It was stream of consciousness. I was like, I can do a full spoiler one. I'm just gonna think of how the entire episode went, and I just kept writing.
Yeah,
I like that it was full spoilers. That was kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie.
I like I think I said at the top of the episode that I liked last episode a bit more than this one. There were just like some parts originally that I was like unsure of or didn't fully grasp, and then kind of grasped it more once I heard the podcast and stuff. And then like we kind of like talked through it here. So but that leaves it for next episode to be better.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like,
yes,
you need to see where it goes to really be able to judge it all in proper context. And I do have John's thoughts if you wanted to hear them. It was all right.
Oh, nice. Yeah, 100%. That was good. Yeah. That's the exact same thing he said the last episode too.
Yeah, I just repeated it. Yeah, that was all right.
I was gonna say. Okay, good. Amanda, what'd you think overall?
I liked it. I probably liked it about the same as last episode. Yeah, I'm not hard to please, so I liked it.
Shut up. This episode. This episode reminded me a lot of like, if anyone watches anime, like you watch an episode and it's like barely anything is being animated because you can tell they're trying so hard to conserve as much budget as they possibly can because you know they're gonna go all the flip out for the next one. That's what this episode felt like to me. But they still told some good storytelling. Again, my hang up was with the Spike plot point. It is just a MacGuffin. Movies, TV shows have it. It's not really a big deal. It is what it is. And I
We
do
had
feel a
the
little
whole
better
star
about it with the
map
chain
and the
reaction
whole
aspect of it.
laboratory thing, so I can't see why this seems like a dead or fluff episode. There's a lot happening.
Oh, no, sorry, not fluff. What I mean is like budget constrained episode in terms of CGI, in terms of action. Is what I meant, sorry. As in,
Though
like,
that
let's save
set-
our money in terms of CGI
That
budget.
Forerunner set was probably
Set's
real
definitely
fucking
super
expensive.
expensive, but
Oh my
specifically
God.
CGI.
But they can reuse the set too, so it definitely feels like in
Oh,
TV.
yeah. Oh, definitely.
When you're doing big battle scenes, that just eats your budget big time. It's with all the planning and all the extras and all the CGI.
It's not just, and it's not just budget, right? It's also post-production, which is one of the biggest issues a lot of TV shows have these days is with CGI, is the backlog, the time it takes. Like, that's why a lot of Marvel shows and Marvel movies have like really crappy CGI times because it's just too much too quickly. So the last the last 3 episodes having minimal. I want to see CGI. Jon not in his suit. Not too many alien interactions. I did really like the fight scenes. So not even if they were like kind of like at the background with Maki, they're pretty cool. I like that the priest could hold his own. That was kind of nice.
And we got to see more of it this week too with the
But
fight.
it
'cause
really
I know
feels like it's setting up.
it was very in the background last week,
Yes.
and then in this week we got to see a lot more of it, which I think made people happy.
Yeah, fully agreed. But yeah, I'm hyped as hell for the next one. But like with every season finale these days, I'm excited about it. But then I'm also kind of annoyed that, assuming it gets renewed, that I gotta wait another like 2 years to see what
And
happens next.
As far as the
You know what I
renewal
mean?
goes, and I see people asking about, like Proven is asking about on the forum, it's like it is one of the biggest shows in streaming. So on the Nielsen ratings in the US for its premiere episode, it was number 3, going against 2 shows that dropped their entire season. So and that goes by hours watched. And it was the 3rd most watched with only 2 episodes. And then the next week, which just came out, it was the 4th most watched with only 1 episode against more shows that dropped their entire season. Like, it is enormous. And I know season 1 was also huge, and people just don't want to believe it because, like, a lot of the most popular stuff is bad. So I think people don't get used to it. It's like, well, I don't like it, so it can't possibly be successful. It's like, well, no, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that you don't like that is very successful because other people like it. And this show is really big, especially with their
Your grandpa
core,
loves this show.
Yeah, their core older audience really loves it, especially a lot of people who grew up on Star Trek and stuff. So,
Yeah, and Walker's saying too that it's more of the Paramount, the company having financial issues possibly. And
yeah, because they've been
It's
looking
like-
at getting acquired or merging. So be very curious to see how that goes. It's always so funny. Your kids never know when you're on camera, despite it being right on your screen.
And it says that they might drop the streaming service or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. With where things are going a lot now.
And
I
this is
doubt
a
it.
Showtime show. It's a Showtime show that airs on Paramount. So
That's true. Yeah.
unless
Yeah, I
Showtime
guess
stops existing,
Yeah.
then I think it's fine.
Yeah, I guess Paramount does like kind of host rather a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
they took it is a Showtime production. They still pop up at the end, but like they took that show from Showtime and were like, we want to make this our crown jewel for streaming, but it's still part of an organization that should continue to exist. I mean,
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think Paramount does have a lot of other good shows. I know we're going to have a tangent about Paramount, but they have like all the Star Trek stuff too on there now, and like those are I think
And
really
that
big.
Yellow Jackets show that I'm about to start
Yeah.
watching with my mom. That's a huge show.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
is
and-
another Showtime thing, I believe, or one of those.
Yellow Jackets is
services.
Paramount?
I think
thought
it's
it
smart
was,
for a lot of more streaming
it's
services to
on-
merge up a little bit.
Yeah, Yellow Jackets is on Paramount. It started on, I believe, like HBO or
Oh.
Showtime or whatever. And then, but you have like Survivor and Amazing Race and stuff too, which are
And
big, huge
1886
reality
and
shows.
Yellowstone, the whole Taylor Sheridan
Yeah.
verse, the Bass
Oh, I'm
Reeves
not
show
gonna
he's doing.
I
Yeah.
had to get a month. Yeah. I had to get a month of Paramount Plus here because my Paramount Plus is in Canada, which I couldn't use it here. I just got a free month. There's a bunch of free month codes everywhere, by the way. Just saying, look online, you'll find them.
Yeah.
There's so much more crap on the service in America than there is internationally. I'm just saying, there's like a million goddamn
No,
movies.
really?
Like I swear.
And yet still can't find anything to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, Black Sails was good. Trev, I love that. I want I want them to redo Treasure Planet, or not
yeah,
Treasure
that was
Planet,
Showtime.
the Treasure Island or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think we're definitely in
Treasure
the
Island.
age where a
Treasure
show
Island,
can
sorry,
be
yes.
really big in one sector, and just because you're like, nobody's watching Halo because nobody I know is talking about it, doesn't mean that it's not a big show. You know, we're in the age where there could be a giant show and it's huge, but just because not everybody's talking about it doesn't mean it's huge, not huge, you know.
I mean, I didn't. They had that Mr. and Mrs. Smith show on Amazon Prime that was
That's the funny part,
enormous,
though.
and I don't know anyone that watched it.
Yeah. Or like you were talking about The Bear the other week. I had literally never heard about that show.
Straight up.
And then everybody's talking about how amazing it is, and I'm like, haven't heard of it. That was the first time I ever heard of it.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty good. And with Halo, it's like people do actually talk to people who talk about the show. It's just they don't talk about it in a positive light, but they're still talking about the show. Like just here in Arlington, I already spoke to a couple of people who talk about the show. They're like, "Oh wait, like I was watching the episode a little bit here, and someone's like, "Oh stop, I haven't seen it yet." And I'm like, "Oh, you watch it?" He's like, "Yeah, I hate it, but I watch it." Okay, dude. Like, all right.
cool.
It's the John, I want what I want, but it's still Halo, so I'll watch it thing.
Yeah.
It's an angry fandom.
Yeah, 100%. But okay. Oh, 100%.
Once you get into video game territory,
which is no stranger these days on Twitter.
Not good.
Yeah. God. Anyways, okay. I don't want to keep you guys any longer. I think we've summarized our thoughts pretty well. Generally, we're all pretty excited for the next episode and the final episode, which ends this Spoilercast series for the Halo the series TV show. HaloEra, special episodes, Spoilercast episodes. I really should have shortened the naming a little bit, thinking back on it. It's okay. 7 episodes in. I'm gonna stick with it. Thank you everyone for sticking with us. Next 2 years. For sticking with us this far out. Check us out this time next year, and I will make sure, or at least I'll try my hardest to make sure that we have John on this time. I will message him beforehand. I'll let him know. Hey, listen,
We will beat him over the head.
On here, right? I need to know your
Daylight
thoughts.
savings time was earlier in the U.S. For the love of God, we're
right.
-4. We're not -5. -4, as I have been saying on our website constantly, because we have multiple people who are in Europe or Australia who are on their normal, not daylight savings. We are doing it 3 weeks early for these next 3 weeks. Remember, everything's an hour earlier for you. And every time I schedule something, they have no idea.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Okay.
we do it
before we sign off,
week.
and before I give it to
Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead. So yeah, we're
For those who may not know, okay, sorry. There's latency, man. I feel like a news reporter. I just put my hand here like this whole time. I swear. Okay, for those who don't know, just a few hours ago, or actually earlier this morning, 343 announced a pretty big update coming to Halo Infinite. Squad Battle is getting new maps. The new networking is finally here on every playlist, March 19th. Easy Anti-Cheat is coming to the game March 19th. Forge is getting a custom mode that you can just mess with. It doesn't have to be King of the Hill. Some weapon tuning and some other stuff. We'll talk about it probably not next week because I'm getting back a little late, but maybe the week after. Nick, if you're free, well, I think that'll be a good time. I'll play the game again, get some hands on time on the new maps. But other than that, do you guys have anything else you want to say before we sign up?
Nope.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for watching. And we will see all of you next week. See you.
Bye.
Bye.